Hear the NFL call you, this guy is a winner, man. He has his chance to be the guy.
They got the top guy on the market.
And I will impart all those things that I learned there here in Washington.
He's a person that knows if you start from the bottom and get to the top, it takes work.
And it all starts right now.
Welcome, Commanders family, in the Command Center, presented by SeatGeek, the official primary ticketing partner of the Washington Commanders. It's official. General Manager Adam Peters touched down in Washington earlier this week, and we had the chance to sit down with him for an exclusive interview immediately after his intro press conference. Enjoy. Brian Coble Jr. here with Logan Paulson, and we have the pleasure of welcoming in our brand new GM, Adam Peters. Adam, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing great. How you doing?
Oh, we're blessed, man. So happy to have you here, man. What a 24 hours you have had. You get off the plane from San Fran and you come to a winter wonderland, right?
Yeah.
Then you have your introductory press conference where you were named the GM, man. How has this 24 hours been, in your words?
It's been surreal. It's been incredible. It's been an honor. It's been the whole gamut of emotions. But I can't be more excited to be here with you guys, to be here with this organization. It's unbelievable.
Man, I know you're excited, but we are extremely excited.
I'm more. More.
I don't know. The Commander fans are very, very excited because this offseason you were a hot commodity. A lot of places wanted you. What about that conversation you had with Josh Harris made you say, this is home?
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot, and it was really my research beforehand in understanding what type of community this is, what type of area, the DMV, it's our nation's capital. This is a historic franchise. It's just a place that's ready to explode. And so seeing all that, the great amount of draft picks, the cap space, and then speaking with Josh, and that was incredible, and hearing his vision and seeing how our visions aligned. And right after that meeting, I joked around. I was like, I blew it, I think, in terms of all my leverage. I didn't even take any other interviews, and that was a testament to how great I felt about here. And nothing against those other teams are fantastic, incredible organizations, but it just says so much about this organization and what this means not only to myself but the entire NFL. This organization is a cornerstone franchise that I'm proud to be a part of.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Is there anything like, obviously I think people are more familiar with the coaches and what they go through when they're looking for jobs. Is there anything that as a GM you're like, man, I really think ownership or the roster, or what you mentioned the research, what is the kind of the behind the veil of that, and what made you settle here in Washington?
Yeah, I think it starts with the franchise and the ownership, and then whatever the other thing is in the situation for that particular team. And this was a clean slate in a lot of ways, but not just a clean slate, but a great group of people to be working with. So when you have all that and then it all aligns, it's very rare. And so you can't ask for anything more in my position, and I'm thrilled.
Now, a few times in the intro presser, Josh Harris called you a winner. He said, this man is a winner. You have that respect around the NFL, but a lot of people might not know, you started off in JUCO as a walk-on at UCLA. So to hear the NFL call you, this guy is a winner, man. How cool is that? Is that a full circle moment for you?
It's very humbling. It's really more about who I've been around and what I've been able to be a part of. I've been very fortunate, but you're right. I didn't start off like this, and I started off and I worked for everything. I will say that. I started off and didn't get any great scholarships out of high school, so I went to JUCO. I didn't get any great scholarships out of JUCO, so I walked on at UCLA, and I grinded through that, and I grinded through New England, which is a grind, I'll tell you that. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. So to come full circle, to be here, I've been extremely fortunate to be around so many winning franchises, and to be a part of that. I've been very fortunate, and I will impart all those things that I learned there here in Washington.
One of the things you talked about in your presser was successes and failures, right? And how you have to learn from both, and how it's easier to learn, maybe when it doesn't go so well. Do you have a specific example of something where you're like, man, I wish I would have done X differently, or this worked out better than I thought it would, that you could share with the fans?
Specific exampos, there's a lot of them.
I'm sure there are. I mean, you've worked for 21 years, man.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah, I think all of those you have to. I'm not going to answer your question directly. I'm going to give you the runaround here, but I think it's more of a generality. Great. I think you really have to challenge yourself when you do something wrong, when you've made a mistake, to really understand why you made that mistake. And it's usually because of your process and re-examining your process and understanding, okay, these are the steps that we could have taken to make a better decision. and learn from those things. And then just like when you're a player, right? So your coaches don't want you to make the same mistake
Correct.
twice. They can live with you making a mistake as long as you don't repeat it. And that's just like anything in life. If you learn from those mistakes and make them into a positive next time.
Love that.
When you talk about those obstacles, when we look at your resume, it doesn't look like there's many bad points. There's a lot of winning going on. You have been part of championship cultures. How has all that experience with winning helped you in this role that you're currently in now?
Yeah, I walked into New England and we won Super Bowls my first 2 years.
Because you were there, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, this is easy. But then it took another 10 years to get one in Denver, and then we went, but we've gone, and it's very hard to get there. It's very hard to win it. I know what it looks like. I know what it looks like. I know what the ingredients are. Like Logan, you've been on winning teams, and it's really the people, it's the players, it's everybody pulling in the same direction, everybody aligned, and then ultimately your leadership group, whether it's your head coach, your GM, your owner, or in the case of a locker room, your best players. They set the culture, and everybody else gets in line. And when your best players are setting the culture, that's when you know you got it rolling. And I've seen that at 3 different places now, and that's the goal, and that's what we're going to build here.
What a pleasure it was talking to our new general manager, Adam Peters. Now let's look at his immaculate resume that he's bringing over here to Washington. As you can see, he comes here from San Francisco as an assistant general manager. He also spent time with the Denver Broncos and the New England Patriots. Now, we know about his ability to look at talent, but he also has been surrounded by championship cultures throughout most of his career, winning 2 Super Bowls with the Patriots and 1 with the Denver Broncos. Peters clearly knows what it takes to build a championship team, so let's get some reactions from our team here on Command Center. What an impressive resume for Adam Peters. And speaking of impressive resumes, we're inviting some guys that have impressive resumes of their own. Talking about Santana Moss and Fred Smoot, fellas. Good to have you guys on the show. Fred, I'm going to start with you because we looked at Peters' resume and we saw a lot of great things. But one thing we didn't see is the history, right?
Yeah.
JUCO.
Yes.
Walk on at UCLA. You played in JUCO as well, man. What is it like to have a GM that just got it out the mud like that?
He's a GM that knows adversity. He's a person that knows adversity. He's a person that knows if you start from the bottom and get to the top, it takes work. And I think that's what he looks and try to identify with the players that he picks. He wants people that been through something, some people that know how to get out of those situations. And I think he's a guy that understands football. And football is from the top and the bottom. It can't just be one layer. It's easy to find a Chase Young out there. Can you find Brock Purdy? That's a true test of a GM and somebody that's running an organization.
And Tana, you can tell Fred is fired up about this acquisition, and our fans are fired up as well, rightfully so. How excited are you to see this new era in Washington?
I'm very excited. I just thought about, just listening to Fred talk about the JUCO and being a walk-on.
Yeah.
It's a long road in both of those paths, and just to know that now he has his chance to be the guy. It was a long process for that. So now you have a guy who know what it took, being on championship teams and cultures, and now he's bringing that into our building. And not only he's bringing that from his personal experience, but he also know how to go out there and get that staff that's going to work with him to go out there and get these players. Man, I'm very ecstatic about this guy being here. I know his work is yet to come, so I'm waiting on it. I'm ready.
And Logan, Tanner mentioned it, that championship culture. He comes from that championship culture. How important is that to have a GM that just knows what it means to win?
I mean, I think it's the main thing. I think when you look at his resume, like that is the thing that just jumps out at you right away. Obviously, the walk-on, he loves ball. Scott Pioli mentioned that was the thing that drew him to him when he was at UCLA. But I mean, the fact you're learning under very different styles, right? Bill Belichick, this kind of super organized, hyper-detailed approach. John Elway, very different when he was in Denver. And then obviously the relationship he's got with Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco and John Lynch, right? Just the way you construct the team, there's different ways to skin a cat. I think it's so important to have a guy in that position that knows there's different tools to use and knows when and how to use them. So really excited for this opportunity. I mean, he is the #1 candidate, right? He is the guy that everyone, the belle of the ball. I'm so happy he's here in Washington.
Well, Logan, the belle of the ball has his selection of high draft picks. Is what GM doesn't love having high draft picks. So let's take a look at all of our draft picks coming up in the 2024 draft. It's time for Lucky Numbers, brought to you by Maryland Lottery Fast Play Games. Play fast, win fast today, but please play responsibly. Now, Peters and company will have a lot of capital headed into this year's NFL draft. As you can see, that is 5 picks in just the first 2 days alone. And my guy, Logan Paulson, will be giving you everything you need to know draft related and will be on the ground running, getting you all of your draft day analysis. Should be a very exciting draft. And one thing I am very, very excited about is adding our captain of the ship to this show, London Fletcher. London, how are you doing today, brother? You look good over there.
Yeah, I'm looking better than Fred. That's all that matters. I'm doing great.
Well, of course, man, you missed the start of the show. Fred, you look good, man. You look good, bro. Peace, brother.
Thank you, BC.
But one thing you missed starting the show is our initial reaction on the Peters hire. How are you feeling, man? How excited are you?
Oh, I'm stoked about it. I love the hire. They got their top guy. They got the top guy on the market, as you can see by, all the different teams that had requests to interview Adam Peters. When you look at him, what I love about Adam Peters and what he brings to the table is championship pedigree. He's been to multiple Super Bowls. He's won multiple Super Bowls. He's been in championship organizations, whether it's the New England Patriots, where he started his scouting career, to the Denver Broncos, helping them win the Super Bowl, and now with the San Francisco 49ers, who many assume is going to be representing the NFC in the Super Bowl and the opportunity to win another Super Bowl for that storied franchise. So I love Adam Peters as a hire for our organization.
And Lungi, you mentioned that championship pedigree. Well, it's not just that. He also has an eye for talent. Helped bring in Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, guys along the lines of that. How excited are you to see a guy like that come in here with all of these draft picks that we have and make a wave?
Well, I love that fact, and you mentioned Deebo Samuel, you mentioned George Kittles. Those guys weren't the high first-round draft picks. Deebo was a second-round draft pick. George Kittle, I think, was a fifth-round draft pick. You look at, whether it's Fred Warner, who's a third-round draft pick, and some of the late-round draft picks that they've added to that San Francisco team. That's what you love about him. That's where you really see who knows how to scout. When you look at Adam Peters and the experience that he has, he was a pro scout, but he also has a vast experience on the college scouting side. And when you look at our team and the history, we haven't hit on enough draft picks over the last few years. We got the second overall pick this year. You're supposed to hit on those guys. But what are you going to do with that the two third-round picks we have, the fourth-round picks, the fifth-round picks? Are we going to hit on those guys and turn those guys into Pro Bowlers and in some cases all pros, which Adam Peters has been able to do in the past?
Yeah, Fletch, obviously the draft is one way to build a team, but obviously there's trades and talent acquisition in other ways. Adam Peters has this reputation of being kind of super aggressive and super involved at the trade deadline. What do you think about that aspect of his time in San Francisco?
I love it. You think about the Christian McCaffrey trade and how shrewd of a trade that was, where at the time you're looking like, man, San Francisco gave up too much to get him from the Carolina Panthers. But when you look at McCaffrey and what he has brought to that 49ers team, you can argue that he's the most valuable player in the National Football League, being a part of the Trent Williams acquisition, which, I'm still kind of like, man, how we let Trent Williams out of our building and why he has on the 49ers uniform. I want to ask, I'm sure the ownership asks, hey, what did you all see when y'all went to acquire Trent Williams from us? What did you all think, man, we're stealing this guy from him? And then, even getting Chase Young at the trade deadline this year, he adds to a strength. So you acquiring talent can be done in multiple ways. Draft, we've talked about that. Free agency is another way, but also being aggressive in the trades. And he's shown a tendency and an ability to do all three of those things.
Well, we know he can scout talent. We know he can find talent in the 5th round, 6th round, wherever he needs to find talent in London. But we know it has to be a cohesive relationship between him and whoever the new head coach is. How do you think, relationship-wise, what vision he feels for the new coach and how you think their relationship goes?
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned, what vision he has for the new coach. When you look at his history, when you're drafting and acquiring players to run a Tom Brady offense or an offense led by Peyton Manning, is going to be entirely different than the type of players that you would acquire for a Brock Purdy offense. Or you think about Bill Belichick and his 34 base defense, play a lot of man-to-man. That's going to be a totally different type of talent acquisition than you look at the 49ers and their zone-based scheme right now. So the ability to work hand in hand with the coach, the head coach, and knowing, hey, what type of players fits this head coaches and these coordinator schemes the best. He has the ability and has shown the ability to do all those types of things.
Yeah, Fred talk about, just having that ability to work hand in hand with the head coach that we bring in here. But what about the ability to go out there and pick that staff that's going to help him go out there and get this talent? So, that's something, too, that we should all be looking forward to.
Man, I'm glad you mentioned that, Tanner. And I don't think we talk enough about that. And when I say we, I'm talking about the media in general. We focus so much on who the head coach is, who's going to be the head coach, who's the head coach in Heim. I look at it from a standpoint of who are our coordinators, who's going to be the position coaches, who's going to be a part of the support staff to help the organization and the franchise achieve those goals. Yeah, you hire that head coach for his vision, his talents, his kind of vision for the program. But who is he going to bring in to help carry out that vision? It doesn't take us, we can look back at the guys that were on that 2013 staff with the Washington staff and all those guys who are current head coaches from the Mike Shanahan staff. Think about the support staff that he had on that staff, and hopefully whoever that head coach is, whoever the new head coach is, he brings in those type of quality assistant coaches to help us achieve greatness.
London, great having you on this show, man. Thank you so much. Hopefully we can have you join us more throughout the season on Command Center. London Fletcher, man, great job, great analysis, bro.
Appreciate you guys.
Yes. Fellas, man, always good to chill with our guy, London Fletcher. But now it's time for us to just chill and talk some NFL playoffs. Tanner, take it away.
Fellas, it's time to just chill. Brought to you by Steam Fitters. Steam Fitters UA Local 602 provides the highest level HVAC and mechanical piping services.
Shout out to Santana Moss for always bringing the chill. And speaking of chill, it was ice cold out in Kansas City and Buffalo this wild card weekend. Let's check out some of the scores. The Green Bay Packers got the upset over the Dallas Cowboys, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers earned a big dub on Monday Night Football over the Philadelphia Eagles. Fellas, what a wild card weekend it was. So special, in fact, that the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles are on the couch with us right now. How good does that feel? I know our fans are happy about that.
I think misery loves company because you see all the Commanders fans sitting there rooting for those guys. I was actually wanting one of those guys to represent us. Yep. You know what I mean? At least one of them. But hey, I'm not mad. We gonna be eating our popcorn together.
Fred, I know you were happy.
What you got, Fred?
You know what? I'm with Tanner on this. I feel like I wanted the NFC East representative. Yeah. I love the fact that the NFC East as a whole has the most Super Bowls out of any division. We are the Keystone division. But to see Philadelphia get their eye black like that, oh, it felt so good. to watch the Cowboys, listen, nothing felt better than me watching Jerry Jones. I think a teeth fell out of his mouth. He was disgusted about what was going on. And like Tanner say, misery does love company. Come on over here where we at.
Logan, I gotta ask you, does it make us more valid having an NFC East person make it all the way to the Super Bowl, having the NFC East team make it, or are you happy to see Jerry Jones' teeth falling out?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have been nice to have one of them go far in the play. Like when Philly wins the Super Bowl, you're like, we have the Super Bowl winning team in our division, but obviously the Cowboys, when they lose in the way they did, it makes you feel kind of good. You know what I'm saying? It makes you feel good. Also, as a reminder from a team building strategy, I think you got to have multiple ways to win, right? They can't run the football when they got to run it, right? They're too reliant on CeeDee Lamb. You look at Philly when they lose their coordinators, how that thing totally falls apart. Like how important it is to have those coaches in place to develop. And for us right now, going through this roster building process of the offseason, getting Adam Peters in here, all that stuff, I think it's good reminders about the things we need to be looking for with these coaching hires and the decisions, personnel decisions. So absolutely.
No doubt, fellas. And now there's 8 teams left in the playoffs. I'm gonna run it to you. Texans versus the Ravens, Packers versus the 49ers, Buccaneers versus the Lions, and the Chiefs versus the Bills. Who are y'all favorites in the playoffs?
Favorites are easy though, bro.
My two favorites from both sides, I would say NFC, I'm gonna go with the Niners. And then AFC, I would say, I have to say Baltimore Ravens. Our cousins from down the street.
Listen, those teams are the most well-balanced teams. They can run, they can throw, they can play defense, they can play special teams. We're talking about the best kicker in the league. We're talking about the best offensive lineman in the league. We're talking about 2 of the best quarterbacks in the league. Nobody likes to give Purdy his props. I'm with Tanner on this one. I think those 2 teams outlast everybody.
I mean, I totally agree, but I think a team I'm excited to watch, I really want to see how Houston stacks up, right?
Yeah.
Here's everybody's kind of a darling team, right? CJ Stroud's playing the best football of any rookie probably in the history of the NFL, playing really good ball. How does he go up against this Baltimore team? I want to see that game. The other team I like a lot.
Detroit. I like Detroit.
I love man. They got a lot of weapons. They're a physical football team. Are they the most talented team? No. But they're exciting teams.
Did you see how it was rocking in Detroit?
Oh, dude,
do you see how loud that stadium is? That's 50 years of depression. They let off right there. I love it for the city of Detroit.
Yeah, I love it too.
Fellas, a lot of fun playoff football to be ahead, but there's a lot of fun Commander stuff on the horizon as well. We were out at DC Prime, and we will be dropping a special from DC Prime next week with all of us kicking it, giving a season recap, something we know you guys cannot wait to hear. Until then, for Command Center, peace out. See your peace on right there?
Tonight, Dad came with. He didn't want his little sweet potato to be here without him. But now, he really wishes she was here without him. Next time, he'll just let her roll with her new entourage. And he'll only trust SeatGeek with the tickets. Because when she finds her happy place, he can find his way back to the car. The ticketing app trusted by fans. SeatGeek, so fans can fan.